Hendo Anime Planet here, and today I'll be discussing an action comedy anime called Spy X Family. Spoilers ahead, watch out and enjoy. In an era in which the nations of the world were waging fierce wars against each other, Westalis and Ostania are two neighboring countries that tries extremely hard to keep the peace between themselves. Rewinding to a few days back, a car was transporting a Westalis diplomat to the embassy in Ostania. For some mysterious reason, the car brake failed and it ran off the highway, crashing on the street below, then exploded. This incident leaves the Westalis secret organization to believe that it was an assassination planned by the Ostanian East's far-right political party in an effort to damage the peace treaty and overthrow the current Ostanian government. So in an effort to figure out their plan, they decided to entrust this task to the best agent they have, a spy that goes by the code name Twilight. He's one of, if not the best in the industry. He's notoriously known all around the world for being a master of disguise, and because of this, no one knows his true identity. Twilight immediately boarded a train to Berlin. The instructions of his mission were given to him via a newspaper. All the details were coded within the news articles. His target was Donovan Desmond, the leader of the National Unity Party. Desmond is an extremely cautious guy and he's rarely seen in public. His job is to get close to him and probe any seditious activity. Desmond only appears at social gatherings held at the elite private school which his son attends. His task is to infiltrate one of the gatherings, and to accomplish this, he must get married and have a child. Enroll the child in the private school before the enrollment deadline in 7 days. Sounds simple but easier said than done. Operation Strix. This operation is the key to maintain peace between the East and the West, and the upper heads have full confidence in Twilight's capability. Operation Strix has now commenced. Twilight took on his new identity as Lloyd Forger, occupation psychiatrist, and purchased an apartment for his yet-to-be-found family. After all the paperwork were done, he heads straight to the orphanage. The orphanage had little to no track record with the government. He immediately noticed the terrible conditions of the place, and moreover it was run by a half-drunken old man. Lloyd requested a child that is able to read and is at least 6. The old man brought him to Anya, who's supposed to be the smartest child there. Because of her tiny stature, Lloyd was skeptic about her age. But she wanted to impress him so much she picked up a crossword puzzle for him to see and solved it in front of him while he solved it in his mind. Lloyd was indeed impressed and he adopted her without any hesitation. Little did he know that she's actually a telepath, a test subject of an experiment, and she's able to read the mind of anyone around her. After taking her home, this is where we find out that Anya is very fascinated by spies, and after reading Lloyd's mind at the orphanage and found out he was a spy, hence why she tried so hard to impress him. Lloyd then told Anya to sit and watch her cartoon while he heads out, but Anya insisted to tag along, thinking he might be going on an adventure. While they're out shopping, Lloyd realizes that being a spy is way easier than being a parent, but for the sake of his mission he purchased a bunch of parenting books and stayed up the entire night studying them. While Anya is loving the fact that her new father is a spy, she tries to follow him every time he heads out, and is completely thrilled by the fact that he's always able to find her. He somehow managed to lock her up while he heads out for his one and only source of intel in Ostania, Frankie Franklin. Frankie gave him some intel on Anya, and here he found out that Anya was adopted and returned 4 times since the year started, so this is why she keeps her ability a secret. While at home, Anya found Lloyd's spy equipment and manages to send out a random radio signal that was intercepted by the enemy. The enemy leader Edgar, whom Lloyd had sabotaged before in the past, instantly recognized that it was a signal from the West. He instantly sends his men to the location to either kill or capture him. They took Anya captive to lure him. As Lloyd reaches back home, he instantly realizes that the apartment was tampered with. 2 men were waiting for him inside, but he took them down like it was a walk in the park. Lloyd heads to Edgar's hideout disguised as one of his men. While everyone was distracted by the body they thought belongs to Twilight, he manages to escape outside with Anya and gave her directions to find a police station. He heads back inside and took out Edgar's men. He then points a gun at Edgar's head and threatens to harm his wife and his daughter if he doesn't leave him alone. Lloyd took Anya and they both moved from the apartment. He told her that it was dangerous and they'll find a new home so she can study for her entrance exams. It's now finally time for the entrance exam, and Anya has no clue of what she can do to pass. She tries to read the minds of the others, but they are as clueless as she is. All the studying that she claimed to have done isn't showing one bit, so she was left with no other choice but to guess all the answers, and by some miracle it worked out, and she ended up passing her entrance exam. Later that day, they received a letter from Eden College. The letter outlines the second phase of the administration process, which is a family interview where it is mandatory for both parents to attend with the applicant. While at another location in the same city, a beautiful young woman named Yor had been a bit on the edge recently, because out of all of her friends, she's the only one who's still single. And moreover, the government has been closing down on single females under the suspicion of them being spies. One of her friends invited her to a party and told her to bring a partner. Later that day, she received a call from her brother, the only living family member she has. He's concerned about her and inquired if she had finally settled down with anyone. But she lied to him and told him she has, and that she'll be attending a party that her friend had invited her to with her boyfriend. She doesn't want her brother to think she's a liar, but the thought of finding a boyfriend before the party troubled her because it's difficult to have a companion in her field of work. She's a typical worker at the city hall during the day, but by night she's the infamous assassin known as the Thorn Princess, a contract killer who does various missions to murder people for the greater good of the country. This is why she has to keep a low profile as a normal worker at the city hall. Back at home, Frankie tried his best to help Lloyd by dressing as a female, but in the end failed miserably. So they decided to search through the files of all the unmarried women in the city. Lloyd had the option to choose a female colleague, but he prefers to get someone who doesn't know about the mission. After failing to decide on a match, he brought Anya to the tailor to get her measurement done. Here he stumbled upon Yor, who came to fix a dress for the party. Lloyd instantly recognizes her from the files. Yor noticed Lloyd staring and asked him about it. He quickly told her that it was simply because she was pretty. Yor was flattered that he was fond of her and was about to ask him out. But Anya came back to Lloyd at that very moment. Yor started to regret what she was about to do, and made her thoughts run wild. Anya read her thoughts and found out she was an assassin. The thought of having a spy father and an assassin mother made her extremely ecstatic. She quickly put on a facade about how lonely she is because she doesn't have a mother. That made Yor inquire about it with Lloyd. Then she gathered the courage to ask him out. She told him he only had to pretend to be her boyfriend, and in return Lloyd asked her to be Anya's mother for the upcoming interview at Eden College. They both agreed, and Yor asked Lloyd to meet her the next day at the party. However, Lloyd got some last-minute spy business to take care of, and he was unable to make it in time for the party. Yor was a bit disappointed, but she doesn't blame him for it. She showed up at the party by herself and immediately criticized behind her back by her so-called friend. Lloyd showed up late, all covered in blood, and told her one of his patients went berserk during a therapy session. He then introduced himself as Yor's husband and immediately took her out of that depressing environment. While outside, they were attacked by some of the guys Lloyd was dealing with earlier, but they managed to take them out with ease. Lloyd was surprised about Yor's ability, but somehow didn't suspect her of anything. The next day, Yor moved in with Lloyd and Anya and is now officially a member of the Forger family, a fake family which consists of a spy, an assassin, and a telepath who all hides their true identity from each other. Lloyd got Frankie to forge a fake marriage certificate for them that was dated 1 year earlier so it wouldn't raise any suspicion. And since their marriage is just for show, Yor has a room for herself separate from Lloyd's. After Anya finished showing Yor around, they are now settled and the family is ready for the next phase of the mission. With the Eden College family interview coming up, Lloyd conducted a mock interview in order to prepare. After a few questionings, Lloyd realizes that it was hopeless, and for the first time with more than a decade worth of experience being a spy, he's actually doubting the success of a mission. To clear their heads, he decided to take them out so they could practice what it's like to be an upper-class family. This include visiting the opera house, viewing first-class art, taking a family portrait, and even going for first-class dining. But all this effort still didn't make a difference in the end. Lloyd couldn't afford to start doubting now, so he decides to be patient and take baby steps. Yor suggested for them to go out and get some fresh air. She brought them to a beautiful spot on the outskirts of town so they could enjoy a moment and be normal for a bit. Not long after, they managed to subdue a petty thief even though they're trying to keep a low profile. They just can't help themselves but to help others around them. With the date of the interview dawning, they went through some vigorous preparation and redoing the mock question. The day for the interview has now arrived, and the Forger family got there on time for the interview. Eden College is a prestigious school where only the best and the wealthiest of students go to study. The school is known for its strict judgment of parents and children when it comes onto the selection process, so it was vital for the Forgers to perform their very best. Immediately after entering, Lloyd noticed they're being watched and realized the examination has begun. As the families enter the school campus, a group of teachers led by the headmaster Henry Henderson are judging the families and discreetly eliminating whoever seems unfit to pass. For Henderson, he's only concerned about elegance. If a family is elegant, they belong at Eden, while if a family is not, they should be instantly eliminated. As they walk in, the forgers pay their respect to the founder of Eden. Henderson was impressed by their elegance and immediately told one of his fellow teachers to pull up Anya's file. He noticed her awful handwriting and that she was barely able to pass her exam. He was disappointed by his earlier judgment and quickly arranged another test to see if they were truly elegant or if they were just putting on an act. First, a child was stuck in a gutter and called out for Lloyd's help and ruined all his clothes. But they came prepared and he quickly changes in another. The only thing Henderson could think about was how elegant Lloyd was. But he wasn't convinced as yet. He made another arrangement for the farm animals to go on a rampage, but Lloyd and Yor quickly took care of it. Their clothes got damaged in the process. But not to worry, they had another change of clothes with them. At that point, Henderson was weirdly aroused by the amount of elegance he sees in the family. So, the first part of the test is over, but Lloyd is still concerned that the worst is yet to come. This is a guy who has infiltrated terrorist groups and have stopped missile launches at the very last minute, but yet he believes that these last few moments have been the most nerve-wracking experience for him. Now the most crucial moment of Operation Strix has begun. Everything was going smoothly and according to plan. Anya was answering all her questions correctly and the family looked as if they had everything under control. But then Swan, one of the interviewees, started to cause some trouble with his questions. He brought up some sensitive topics that made Anya emotional while throwing shades at Yor in the process. Lloyd always puts his mission as top priority before anything else. But for some reason in this case he felt a sense of responsibility towards Yor and Anya, and this made him lose his cool and smash the table right in front of them. Lloyd made his disapproval of Swan's question clear and excused himself and his family. Henry also made his disapproval clear to Swan, but he showed it in a more elegant way. When they got home, the entire family was distraught. They know that there was little or no chance for Anya to be accepted after what had taken place. Never in a million years would Lloyd have imagined that his own actions could potentially jeopardize a mission. But they haven't lost complete hope as yet. They remain hopeful of the possibility that Anya will be accepted. The day of the result has now arrived. While on their way, they experience a number of bad luck. First, Yor's bracelet broke. Then a black cat walked across their path, and to top it all off, Anya stepped on some poop. Lloyd tried to convince Yor that they are just mere coincidences, but when they got to the school, Anya had failed. They were all left devastated, even though they didn't doubt it could happen, but all that time and effort has now gone down the drain. But before they could leave, Henry Henderson called them over from out of the shadows and showed them a short list of candidates with Anya's name at the very top, even though his action caused Anya to not get immediate acceptance. There is still a small possibility she'll be able to enroll if a student from the main list wishes to leave. He assures them that 1 or 2 students always withdraws every year, so they should look out for a call. While they patiently await the call, Anya did her good luck ritual to summon all her good luck. Not long after the phone rang and Lloyd quickly ran to it, and Anya got accepted. Before the news could sink in properly, Frankie enters the house with a bottle of booze to celebrate and announced himself as Lloyd's friend. He makes himself at home and the whole family celebrated. Frankie, in his drunken state, told Anya that her father would buy anything for her as a reward just for today. But what Anya wanted was to reenact a scene from her favorite spy movie. So Lloyd got some help from his spy friends back home and rented out the castle where the movie took place. The entire night Lloyd played the role of the main character and gave Anya the experience of a lifetime. The next day, they went to the tailor to get Anya's school uniform made. The tailor took all the measurement and asked what school she'll be attending. When they told her it was Eden College, she warns them to be careful and that there is a discrimination towards students whose parents aren't alumni and the bullying that takes place. This information scared Anya, but she told her not to worry because there are a lot of fun things to do as well. The next day, Lloyd asked Yor to pick up the uniform from the tailor later that afternoon because he will be working late that day before heading out. After leaving, Lloyd heads directly to his superior handler. She scolds him for renting an entire castle with the government's money and then went straight into his next instruction. She tells him how the school operates and how to get special access to the gatherings kept at the school. In Eden Academy, there are about 2,500 students, but there are a set of students who stands out among their peers and who are able to lead other students in their study. They are known as the Imperial Scholars. So in order to get close to Desmond, he would have to get Anya to be really close friends with his son, or to become an elite student and gain Imperial status. In order to become an Imperial Scholar, she must earn 8 stellas. These can be earned by exponential achievements in school, however the school also hands out bolts. These are given for misconduct, and if a student receives 8 bolts, they will immediately be expelled. Lloyd smiled, knowing he has a huge task ahead of him. Anya has finally received her new uniform, and with some time on their hands, they both got the chance to spend some quality mother and daughter time together. They visited the park where Anya showed off her uniform to everyone. Some thugs watched them from afar while they entered the supermarket. After they were done picking up groceries, Anya accidentally wandered off outside while Yor was at the cashier. The goons outside captured Anya, but not long after turned out to be the biggest mistake of their lives. Amazed by her mother's ability, she asked her to teach her some of her moves. When Lloyd got back home, he sees Yor and Anya practicing in the living room. He ignores it, thinking it's nothing to be concerned about, but he has no idea of what coming next. It is now the first day of school, and all the parents attends with their child for the opening ceremony. Lloyd has given up any hope of Anya becoming a scholar, and his next plan was to get her to become friends with Desmond's son Damien. The plan was simple. First, become friends with Damien. Second, get invited to his home. And third, direct contact with Desmond. Easier said than done, and at this point Anya have already read all his thoughts using her telepathy. As Anya got called up, she heads towards Damien, but she then heard his thoughts and completely avoided him. A girl named Becky tried to become her friend, but after hearing her thoughts, she ignored her as well. The headmaster, Henry Henderson, gave them a tour of the entire school. He showed them the classes and the canteen. He taught them about the Stellas and how they achieved them. He also mentioned about the bolts and the consequences in receiving them. While on the tour, Damien came up and asked Anya what her father does, and when she told him he was a psychiatrist, him and his friends teased her and called her a commoner. She considered punching him, but she remembered her mother's words and just gave them a menacing smile instead. This infuriated Damien, who thinks she's mocking him. They continued bullying her but laughs it off until she made glance to see if Henderson was looking, and when she realizes he's not, she punched Damien right in the face, sending flying across the room. When Henderson heard all the ruckus and returned to check, she told him he was bullying Becky, so she had to intervene. Henderson called the forgers and told them what happened. Normally, an offense like that, a student would be given 3 bolts, but because she did it to protect a friend, he only gave her 1 for her elegance. Lloyd was completely distraught. Not only did she receive a bolt on her first day, she also puts the mission in total jeopardy. As the photograph was taken, you can clearly see the horror in Lloyd's face. How do you all think things will turn out? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Consider subscribing so you won't have to miss any future uploads. I'll see you all soon with part 2.